What is going on, guys? This is Tony's Takeaway back at it with another Laker video. In this one, we had the Lakers play the Grizzlies, and the Lakers finally won. Even though it was a very close game, right? They only won by 3. 121 to 118 was your final score for the Lakers as they improved to 1-2. They finally grabbed their first win of the season. But I'm just gonna go ahead talk about some players that I liked, what I did not like, and give out my thoughts, because obviously when you have a team constructed like this, there's going to be many challenges, including chemistry, including fit, right? You got to mesh together, and that's going to be a challenge for the Lakers all season long. But it was nice to see them get their first win, and especially against a team like Memphis. Memphis is a playoff team, okay? And Ja Morant is a rising superstar in this league. He is just something else. He looks like almost a prime D Rose. And for me, my main thing was for the Lakers is the first 3 games they've played were all against playoff teams, right? You had Golden State, playoff team, Phoenix, playoff team, Memphis, playoff team. To go 1-2, and it's not bad. It's not terrible. So let's not overreact about that 1-2 start, right? I think that's okay. But I'm just going to talk about some certain players because, a key player that just stood out to me was Carmelo Anthony. I mean, obviously, he had 20 plus points and, coming off the bench, providing that spark. I mean, that's exactly what I wanted. Now, this is not something he's going to do every game. So let's not get used to it with him scoring this many points, that many threes. But he is someone that you can rely on as an offensive spark. He is someone you can rely on to just get some points when it matters, right? And like I said, he is what we wanted Kuzma to be. And, Melo is basically better than Kuzma right now. I mean, he has a 3-point shot. He has that post ability, right? And he's a high IQ player. Over the past few years, he's developed a really smart mindset about the game in terms of how you should approach it and things of that sort. So, good for Carmelo. He had a tremendous game, and this is exactly what Laker fans wanted. They just wanted that third guy or that guy off the bench who can come in and give a reliable 10 points at least, and Carmelo's that guy. He could be even more than 10 points per game. But for now, let's just settle 10 because we don't want to get too ahead of ourselves, right? Just because he had an offensive outburst this game doesn't mean that he's going to do that every single game, right? But everything looks so good so far. And then I wanted to talk about, obviously, someone like a Lebron and Westbrook, right? Those two, in terms of the stat sheet, you might not see much, right? But, they were both close to triple-doubles. They both distributed the ball extremely well. And yes, they did have some turnovers, but they had some steals and blocks each to make up for it. So I do think this was probably Westbrook's best game as a Laker for sure, especially when he went on that offensive outburst. I think it was in the third quarter or something of that sort. And then LeBron, he didn't necessarily shoot the ball in terms of the overall field goal that well. But if you watch the game, then you know that he made timely shots, right? I mean, when the Grizzlies were going on a run, he would make a 3 and whatever of that sort. LeBron's been that kind of guy who's been, he'll give it to you when you need it, right? So the Lakers, when they needed offense, he was there. When they needed a playmaker, he was there. And LeBron's 37. He's going to turn 37. So there's no way that he's going to be able to average 26, 27 points a game. I don't think that's going to happen this year, especially with the primary ball handler in Russell Westbrook. So I think that's going to help out a lot. But overall, I like the way that they played. I like how LeBron and Westbrook played, right? They were aggressive when they needed it to be. And for the most part, they're just shooting the ball well. They're distributing. They're playing defense. I mean, that's what you want to see out of your 2 superstars, right? Anthony Davis, credit to him for having a good game again. He was definitely more physical this game. And the one thing that only concerns me is that of the amount of times that he's falling on the ground. But I'm sure that will continue to be addressed as the season goes on. I'm pretty sure that he'll load manage in the way that he needs to do it. So I'm not really concerned for Anthony Davis as much as I am for, LeBron, because we saw that scare with his knee, but, he came back up, and he's literally built like Iron Man. He cannot get injured, it seemed like. But I think the biggest takeaway from this game was the 3-pointers from the Lakers. For the past so many years, we're like, can they make threes? Well, they can't. They struggle to make threes. Well, finally, the Lakers decided to actually shoot some threes and make them. So that was a good thing, them shooting the ball really well opens things up, right? So I'm really glad that, their three-point shooting is something else. And when you look at the other players, right? I mean, Bazemore, I'm a little iffy on. Bazemore, I don't know necessarily if he's the best fit. Maybe we should give it some time or something of that sort. But Bazemore hasn't really done much to impress me yet. Malik Monk coming in, doing a couple three-pointers here and there, just being aggressive, doing what he does. I mean, that impressed me, right? I mean, you just had a bunch of other players on the team. Even Austin Reeves, right? He comes in, he just hustles, and he makes the smart play. He drives in, right? He has easy shots because of his teammates, right? So I'm really fascinated by our bench players. I think they did a tremendous job coming in and filling in. And, obviously you didn't have too much Dwight or DeAndre Jordan, but, for the time being, I think the rest of the guys played well. And I think Frank Vogel and the coaching staff deserves a lot of credit for this win because Memphis is a really good team in my opinion. The defensive schemes they threw at us, they weren't allowing us to go on the fast break, right? They're fouling us every time we were trying to go out into transition, right? Frank Vogel understood that. Frank Vogel countered it, and it's time to give the man some credit. I mean, he's literally the reason why we won that championship 2 years ago. He's literally the reason why we're ranked number 1 in defensive efficiency last season. And yes, defense is a little bit of a concern for me so far this season, but that's going to get fixed. Frank Vogel is a defensive master. He knows exactly what to do, when to do it. And if you want to say that his substitutions are questionable, I think that could be said with any coach in the league, right? And Frank Vogel's just one of them, but he is a tremendous coach, and I think people need to get off his back regarding it. But other than that, I didn't really have much to take away from the game other than the fact that it was a much-needed win, and in my opinion, it was a statement win because when you have 3 superstars like Westbrook, like LeBron, like AD, with the expectations set so high, all the eyes are on you, right? And you come out and especially the three-point shooting that was shown, that was displayed. I mean, that just goes to show the amount of diversity and flexibility that this offense has. Really, I think this game demonstrates how good this Laker team can be, right? I mean, this wasn't even the best defensive game for the Lakers, but it was definitely one of the better offensive games, and they're still able to win. Their three-pointers were going down. Their free-throw shooting was pretty solid, especially in the clutch. But overall, it was a good game. And the Lakers are now 1-2. I think next game, I don't know who next game is against. I have to look at that. But honestly, with the Grizzlies having Ja Morant playing really well, I mean, that man, he had 40 points, 10 assists. I mean, he is a superstar in the coming. So, it's going to be tough guarding. It's so hard to stop players like that. I think that's what people need to understand. It's like when players are so good, like when players go up against LeBron in the playoffs or an Anthony Davis in the playoffs or, Kawhi or someone like that, you can't stop them, but you can maybe limit them or slow them down. But Ja Morant's just a special talent, man. He's that guy. So I think the Lakers overall, they could do better defensively, but I do believe that'll get fixed over time. But I'm just glad that I was able to see good three-point shooting. Their offense was good. Russell Westbrook had a better game. I mean, I think it was an overall good game. Regardless of whatever the final score is, people want to say, oh, you only beat the Grizzlies by 3, but I think it was a good win. I think it was a statement win. That's all I have to say about it. But let me know what you think about it in the comments down below. Like this video if you guys enjoyed it, and subscribe for more, guys. All right, guys? Take it easy.